watching another segment of Policy and Prejudice. My name is Chris Stevenson. I have a special guest today. I don't often get a chance to do, especially a show with the, with the guest, with the actual musician as the guest. As much as I love music, but today I have Mr. Richard Flick Williams. This is a local jazz artist, jazz recording artist. How have you been anyway?
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
And can we just say music artist? I don't like to confine myself to any genre. It's about the blessing of the music. So,
What did I say? Recording artist?
Jazz. But I do. But some of my albums are jazz, but I just like music.
Yeah. Well, I know you our show, the network, starts off with
right
with one of your solos.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I forget the name of that one. It's on there when it comes on.
Yeah.
But it's good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'm a fan of music overall. I guess I have varied taste. It's kind of like my mom. My mom even liked. She goes from Nat King Cole to waltz to polka.
Right. Right.
Okay. Me, she's all over the place. She was all over the place with her stuff. My thing, I listen to R&B, rock, heavy metal, whatever, So, so I maybe I got that from her. Just you can't just confine yourself to one type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long have you been playing?
Woo! I won't tell my age. I've been playing for 40 years or so. I was blessed. I went to East High School at a time when there were a lot of musicians there. Kenny Hawkins, Jerry Lewis. There was just a lot of musicians there, and I was blessed to have get a music scholarship to go to Hampton University. Now, when I went to Hampton, it just blew me away. I mean, not only history of Hampton, but musically, Consuela Lee Moorhead, who's Spike Lee's aunt. She was one of my music teachers, and I got to do like some off-Broadway things, from and Bill Lee, Spike's father, used to come to university a lot. And also Chris Vidala, who at that time, Chuck Mangione was very popular jazz musician.
Yeah.
His sax player, Chris Vidala, was my saxophone instructor. There were so many professionals at Hampton University, and it just blew my mind. And so I just dove into the music. And even like I said earlier about not just one genre, I wrote a symphony a couple of years ago. It's a symphonic poem called Trilogy of Truth. Okay. And it's, my website, flickwilliams.com. Anyway, it's on my website.
All right.
And a lot of my material has done kind of well overseas. I mean, I sell a lot overseas, and me and my sister would talk about it from time to time. That I guess it's here at home. I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. And people know me as that more here at home than the others.
So you're a music teacher?
Yes.
Where do you teach?
At Westminster Community Charter School.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been affiliated with the board I was in public schools and for years. But but I recall I was doing well. I had the opportunity to work with Olivia Newton-John. I'm one of and a lot of people claim it, original members of the Stone City Band with Rick. If you look on his Come and Get It album, my brothers were the horn section on half of the songs, and the Brecker brothers were the horn section on the other half. And it has on that CD, and the back it says the Williams brothers, Flick, Steve, the whole night on that, and Mary Jane and all that.
So I think I heard that. Yeah, so it's been a while since I heard that you were in there.
Yeah,
the Stone City Band.
Yeah,
and the Brecker brothers are all over the place.
Yeah, they're just.
They were with P Funk.
Woo!
A lot of they were everywhere.
And just hot, hot.
They were.
That recording session really. You know how you try to act like you're used to something and you're really not. So you should be feeling. Yeah. And I had just got through working with Olivia Newton-John down in Virginia when I heard that Rick was forming this group, so I auditioned and stuff. And and this is like in that beginning thing. And we did half of the song at the record plant in Manhattan. Now this blew my neck because Rick was in studio. Rick was in Studio C. Bruce Springsteen was in Studio A. Yeah. Aerosmith was in Studio C. These are like monster rock groups, right? Yeah. So and everybody, it was a lounge area that everybody that was there.
How big was each studio?
Each studio, large. I mean, it was like each studio was like I'm trying to compare a studio here in Buffalo. There's one on Franklin. I can't think of the name of it. But it was a large. Each studio was extremely large. Studio A was the largest.
I remember hearing about the record plant. That was big.
It was just massive.
The Electric Lady was back then.
And when I'm saying it, I'm like, I'm trying to be like, oh yeah, how you doing? This and that. But inside I'm like, man, would you look? Do you see? you know,
you.
it was so cool, you know, and
Right.
but I was well anyway, that's what it kind of led to. I formed my own production company about 10 years ago, Pharaoh Productions. I ran into some contract problems with the project I did a few years back, and that's what got me into teaching. I had gotten my degree from Hampton University, but ever since I was at Hampton, I was always doing.
So really, pencil pusher stopped you from making music.
That's
always the case.
Yeah, you know,
that's the thing. And I knew a band. I knew these guys personally too out of Rochester when I was living there. They were called Face. They were jazz fusion. They could jam, but they could never get a recording studio because lawyers kept them out.
Okay, right.
Out of the studio, and I says that makes no sense. What do you think you're doing when you do stuff?
Yeah, right.
You know, you're stopping people from making a living, stopping them from doing what they were trained to do since they were kids. You know, but that's when politics gets into music from that standpoint. There's problems. You know what I'm saying?
Major problems.
That's the thing. Describe it from your recollection of it.
Fun, cool, wow. You know, but throughout the years,
because I've been I don't have to tell you. Most of what I've heard.
That's what I'm going to say. Throughout the years, I've heard a lot of stuff about Rick. But I can tell you, we had a falling out one time. This was during the beginning. Now after we recorded the album "Come and Get It" with Mary Jane and all that, Motown gave us half of our money before the session, and the other half came through him. Okay. And for whatever reasons, we didn't get it for a while. So me and him always had a conversation, and I decided, whatever, you do your thing, I'll do mine. And I remember a couple of years later when he was on his really doing well, it was a club here in Buffalo. He had his little entourage. Well, Flick, what you doing now? You're probably selling pencils on the street corner. You wish it was, but it was but it was cool. But then wait a minute, let me check this out. Things come full circle. Yeah. Now, years later, a few years before he passed, he called me to tour with him. I mean, it was like, every bygones are bygones, and I did that.
Did he pay you then?
Oh, he paid me the first time, and I got treated extremely well this last time. Okay. I did that tour, and I did his very last tour. All right. And treated me extremely well. As a matter of fact, Kenny Hawkins was the musical director, and Big Mike the drummer at that time. But anyway, there was a crew, an LA crew of musicians that was in Stone City and the Buffalo crew, right. And Rick wanted it all to be back to all Buffalo, and he was always talking to them about the Buffalo musicians and all that. So when we got there, it was just like this tension between, just like a football or basketball. You're the LA crew, and he treated me and us so well, and it wasn't just because of that. He respected the music. He respected. I mean, and I've heard the rumors, and I've heard a lot of, and I've seen a lot of stuff. When I was with him. Right. But the relation, I guess maybe it's a few that were really honest. It was like we'd have conversations where it wasn't about because you're Rick James, and I know and I would name 3 cats: Kenny Hawkins and Big Mike, the drummer, and myself, that he respected what we had to say and respected us musically. Right. So we tell him whatever. He walked into the room. I mean, we ribbing on him like we rib, just like whatever. Right. Yeah. Whereas a lot of cats be like, oh man, no, But and I think he respected us. Not only musically, but it was no kiss up there. It was like, just like one of the fellas. Right. And so back to your question. I've heard all of that, but the only time I experienced that was 30 years ago on his first CD. After that, treated me well, no disrespect in any kind of way. As a matter of fact, he was pissed when I got there kind of late for the last tour, and they met us at the airport. There was a guy in the group. He told him to get everybody what they need as far as equipment, bada bing, boom. And when I got my job with him was basically saxophone. I was in the horn section, singing, background vocals, and keyboard. So I did little keyboard parts, not the main. So we had already talked before I got there what my needs were as far as equipment. Before he came, I said 5 minutes, but before we practiced maybe 2 weeks before that tour, before he even set foot in, to get the music together. Yeah. And so he expected when he walked in, keyboard would be there, this and that. The guy who was handling all that, well, Flick, you don't need that. Don't worry about it. Well, oh, no, you're not going to be doing that. No, it just had me wait, kind of, I guess that haterade, because, push to the background. Well, Rick came in on that first rehearsal, and that was like the Rick people talk about. He cussed him up and down. Where the hell is Flick something? Well, go to the store, get it right now. I was like, I don't think I'll say, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, But I mean, really, you know, I know he had his issues and this and that, but you know, I can't say anything negative about him in dealing with me. He's always dealt with, except for that one time, he dealt with me in a very positive way, and it was a mutual respect.
You know, I've always been interested in the business side of the recording industry. You talked about how Motown, when you guys were with Motown Records, did Motown pay you or Rick pay you? I mean, how does that work? Did they pay Rick or he paid you all? Or?
And it depends on different scenarios. Like that first one, we got our checks, half of our checks in advance straight from the company.
Okay.
You know, and then we were supposed to get the other half through him, and at that point, you know, things got a little. But it depends on the situation. Now, even like the last 2 tours, he or the company didn't pay us. Because of different things he was going through, and that was a wise part on him and his family. He was like on a budget, you know, you know, with the lawyerism, you know, this and that, and all of our checks came from a particular, you know, company that was handling the state. I mean, so he never, or the company, you know, and it was, and I respect that. I guess they, you know, so it was never any of this because it didn't come from him. It was like, you know, we go to.
So when you're on tour, you know, like I just have a local opinion on this, okay. I have no concept of like if you're in Madison Square Garden or if you're in a large stadium and there's somebody with a bag full of money say, okay, we got $10 million. Here, Flick, here's $500,000 for you. Rick, Mary Jane girls, here's your money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The money goes somewhere, obviously.
Yeah.
But you guys obviously are advanced to a certain extent.
Yeah, right.
Whatever, you know, based on the estimate of how many people are going to show up or whatever. Or
well, it's a set fee. Usually, when you're touring, you sign an agreement that you're going to make X amount regardless of how many people are out there. You know, so you know most of the time. I mean, that was just like set. You know, it didn't depend on the the numbers. You know, but a wild thing too. I don't know if you recall this. That first to the last tour I was telling you about. You remember? He was scheduled to be in Buffalo one of those last tours, and they canceled it because of, they said, the turnout. The
turnout was bad ticket sales or something.
Yeah. Now it was really I couldn't have found that because we were already on the road. You know, 2 shows Chicago, 2 shows New York City, every place sold out. So I'm like, you know, when I heard that, it was like, you know, what is that about? You know, and you know, but you know, he still had it. He had the juice, you know, and I'm not to believe in it because they came to see him, and I know I'm talking a lot now, and I gotta go. But there's no feeling. They didn't come to see me, but you to go on a stage where you know, when you backstage and you hear that energy, you know, and all that, you know, and then you know when you come on and they got the little lighted strips down to get you to where you're supposed to be in the crowd. You know what you're at show, and you can kind of see movement. So you know, then it's. And then the lights come on. I mean, it's just that kind of that's a great feeling.
Yeah,
that is.
I can imagine.
You know, that's a great feeling. You know? And I was fortunate and blessed to, you know, be able to do that. You know.
What other bands have you played with since then?
Quite well. You know, since then. Well,
just name a few. You don't have to name
Well, I've done more production work than actually bands. After Olivia and Rick. And I formed my company as more production work, you know, like a lot of theater productions here in Buffalo, some in Toronto. I've done the soundtrack, and you know, and you know, I'm more into that aspect of it now. And I really haven't done a lot. I was fortunate to do Van Taylor. I worked with this group when we did a couple of overseas tours, you know. And one tour we were down, you know, for the troops, playing for the troops down in Puerto Rico a few years back, but the South Pacific tour was off the joint. We started in Alaska, went to Hawaii, Guam, and all those like little islands in the South Pacific. You know, it was real cool.
You know, if I had my own record label, I'd probably try to bring back all the funk bands.
Hello,
I would try to get all y'all back. You know what I'm saying? Give the New Birth, Ohio Players, all of them. You know, okay, because that was the best. To me, that was the best time. I think. In the early 70s, I think me and some of my friends were having a discussion. I told them, they were talking about singing groups. They were still talking about singing groups. They said, Black Ivory is great. I said, no. I said, the future is going to be the band. They said, what band? I said, Earth, Wind & Fire, these bands weren't doing anything. They were just starting. But I felt something coming, okay? Man. And it was more, and it exploded even more so than what I estimated, okay? All of them, the Kool of the Gang, they became major. All of them went major. You know, you're after that, y'all exploded.
But you hit my favorite band of all time is Earth, Wind and Fire. Oh my goodness. Oh, I wish I had the opportunity to play with them. Oh my God. They just, not only the...
Well, they're still around. You never know.
Yeah.
They're still around.
The musicianship, the message, the positive energy. And then back in the day when they had the crazy shows, Earth, Wind is just in a league by themselves.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I did an interview with one of the original members, Sherry Scott.
Okay.
And she was one of the original lead singers. And on Blog Talk Radio, on the show that I used to do, which I'm going to try to get back up going. Mm-hmm. But they were awesome. You're right. Yeah. P-Funk. I saw Earth, Wind and Fire in '75. Okay. At Niagara Falls Convention Center. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's when they really took off. That year, that's they went number one that year, that album and everything, and they were hot. Yeah. But like I said, I wish I could just bring all the bands back because there's nothing like you can hear good drumming. Good guitar playing, good horn playing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was never into the electronic drums or anything. Right. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind synthesizers, but today synthesizers is everything. It's the whole band.
Absolutely.
I don't like that. That's not. It's not. You don't get the same feel. It's not the same energy. Mm-hmm. But the kids love it. Yeah. That's all they know.
And see, a lot of the kid tours or whatever tours now, all they're singing over soundtracks and everything, and that takes away.
And they're on stage maybe a half hour.
Yeah.
They haven't put out any sweat.
I mean, like the groups you mentioned, those are shows. When you went back during that time, when you went to, and even individual singers, like during that time with the 70s, 80s, this and that, Stevie Wonder. I went to Stevie Wonder's concert and just down in Virginia blew me away. And not only because of his talent, but everybody in his band was like on point, and that's a whole different energy and vibe than you get from. These young people getting sold short. They don't know it. They don't know it though. They don't know, but they're getting sold short on a real show.
Big time. Oh, seriously. So I think somewhere around the early '80s or whatever, that's when I call it the war on real music started. Mm-hmm. And I got nothing against rap. Yeah. Except for the destructive type.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that was cool. Yeah, but that has its place. Right. Okay, but the bands died out. And I think that's more deliberate than anything. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the thing. What's your future direction? I know you hosted a talk show here, local talk show in Buffalo. So you getting kind of like in a political type thing.
Well, I'm a member of 100 Black Men of Greater Buffalo. Okay. And I'm honored to be a member. And 100 Black Men has been doing things for years across the country, very positive and strong in their communities. And I always tell people, leaders like. Jackie Robinson, former baseball player, and Mayor Dinkins of New York were two of the founders. Okay. And, so powerful. And so, recently, even like when I got into education, it's been more toward, my vibe has been more toward to passing on the legacy, passing on the seed, to my students at the school. And through the 100 and through my teaching, I'm able to pass something on. Really make a difference in little places from time. And that's important to me. And musically, the company is going strong.
I've always known of the 100 Black Men, but when locally I was there. Okay. When I saw the initial members. Okay. Right. James Payne, Willie Stewart. Right. When they had a guy from, I forget his name. He was a district representative, whatever, and they were just starting in Buffalo. And later on, they became established. Sometime after that. But and that's good. There's always types. There's always we got a lot of groups out there that can make a contribution, whatever, and because we need it.
We do.
We do. Especially in Buffalo.
And especially in Buffalo. Whether it's politics, music that I'm in, or even like 100. Haterade goes into, flows into the picture where it shouldn't. It's like, well, we have this, we already got this, it's so much hate in this town. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave it alone about that, but go back to
that's a long story.
Thank you, and go even back to the music. Yeah. Coming up in Buffalo and then leaving, musicians, we don't respect our own. You could have, and I've been in with different bands locally coming up. You can have a band coming to Buffalo from Erie, Pennsylvania, from any place, and people legitimize them because they're from out of town. And then you have great musicians, just for instance, like Livingston, one of the best bass players in the world, but he doesn't get the respect, from this town to me because he's from he's just a local cat, But if they brought somebody in from Albany, oh man, we got Jackson Boo Boo from Albany. We need to respect our own and support our own.
It's the Crab City.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
You know, I mean, I love Buffalo. I grew up here also. You know, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know? But listen, I'm glad you came on the show. I'm very thankful.
Hey, you got it.
We're going to do another interview sometime down the line.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? We'll discuss some music history and everything.
You got it.
You know, thank you to Richard Flick Williams, you know, funk master and musician extraordinaire. You know, great. Is you just a sax player, or do you play other instruments?
Well, I play saxophone, keyboard, and keyboards.
Okay.
Well, and I also play flute. I play woodwinds and keyboards. You know?
Okay.
You know, and I sing, do some, you know.
Okay.
And I have a couple CDs out with, you know. But anyway, yeah, that's
All right. Well, thank you for watching another Policy and Prejudice. My name is Chris Stevenson. You all have a safe week.
Blessings.